legends, I hope you're all fantastic. I am finally checking out a legendary Danish chorus pedal on today's video, the TC Electronic Stereo Chorus, Pitch Modulator, and Flanger. Is that the order it's listed in? It actually is. There you go. The SCF for short. Kind of quirky. It's got an attached power cable on here. It's got top mount jacks. I imagine it's kind of one of the first pedals to have that as standard. It's got a three-way switch on the front, which lets you select between chorus, pitch modulation, and flanging. You've got speed, width, and intensity on here. The intensity control does different things depending on the mode you're in, and you can go mono in, stereo out. Holding this pedal in my hand after so many years of wanting one and just never getting around to try it, I have to admit I'm feeling some things right now, because this is a pedal that originally came out in the mid-70s, so it had its peak during the peak chorus years, and it is still spoken about in hushed tones as a legendary pedal. You know a chorus pedal is good when it lived through the 80s and people still rave about it. So I'm going to start out with some clips in mono. You're just going to hear me playing through this with a few different tones and guitars, and then I'm going to connect it in stereo, and I'm still going to play a lot, but I will just kind of talk about some things that I like and some kind of quirks and nuances that I notice with this particular pedal. So let's do it. The TC Electronic SCF. Like the way that sounds in mono, particularly with the rate up a little bit higher, and that is not something that I generally like on chorus pedals. Normally I like the slower rates, the wider depths on there, and kind of a 50-50 mix. But on this, I actually really like those kind of faux Leslie tones you can get out of there. It's definitely got its own character going on. Like, this doesn't sound like any other chorus pedal out there, and it really doesn't react in the same way. I can totally see why people rave about this. It's kind of like the 2290, you know, until you play one, you're probably not quite gonna get what all the hype is about, and then you play one and you just go, this is fantastic. The other thing that I like is it's super quiet. It's got its own power supply in there, and unlike a lot of pedals from this era, it's not noisy. You know, this thing is over 40 years old with this particular example, and there's no scratchy pots. It's been really, really well looked after, and it's just kind of a joy to play. So now let's hear it post gain in stereo. So we're mimicking an effects loop style setup on here. We'll start in the chorus mode. I'm going to start with a very low speed, width and intensity all the way up, and I want that kind of spatial expander thing. We'll just start there. We'll keep the chunky tone going, and we'll see where we end up. that so much post gain as well. It is simultaneously thick and wide, but it's not detracting from the core guitar tone in there. You still got this really nice focus happening on there. It's very, very good. Very, very good. I kind of like the flanger mode in this setup as well. I don't normally like flangers post gain on there. The other thing that I did notice was this intensity control in the pitch modulation mode. As you crank it up, it kind of just goes almost totally out of phase. So intensity a lot lower on that one gives you that kind of stereo widening effect. This is really cool because kind of no matter where you put the knobs, even in the flanger mode with the intensity, which again is feedback all the way up, there's no runaway oscillations or anything like that. It is very, very well behaved. Let's go full plastic now. I've got a Rockman style patch in my Axe effects going straight into this and some pitch detune. I'll start with a pitch detune off. You'll hear the chorus and then I'll bring the pitch detune in. This is good fun. A little bit of Mondo rock right there. Also kind of gives me that 80s Alex Lifeson vibe. Now, TC Electronic do make a reissue of this pedal. They put it out this year, the SCF Gold. I actually thought about buying one of those, but then I saw this one on Reverb for $70 or $80 more. I'm pretty sure this particular pedal is from 1981, 1982. So get a 40-year-old vintage pedal in really good condition that has an attached power cable. It's low noise. All the original parts seem to be intact. There's no scratchy pots. It sounds amazing, and it is staying in my collection because, yeah, it's a chorus and a flanger and a pitch modulator. I've got things that do all those functions, but none of them sound like this. This doesn't sound like a CE1. It doesn't sound like an Arian chorus. It doesn't sound like a Boss Dimension. It's got its own thing going on. The flanger doesn't sound like an Electric Mistress. It's got its own thing going on. I'm not saying these as bad things. I'm saying these as things in its favor because it really just has its own character going on. I like you got the little input gain control. I didn't talk about that, but you can use that to kind of add a bit of grit to your tone. It's like a little line driver in there. I totally get why this is classic. Like I said earlier, you know, I understood that the TC2290 was a classic piece of gear, but then when I finally had the chance to play one, it just hit home so hard. And I feel that way about the SCF. It's kind of a beautiful piece of Danish engineering, and I've got to give it to TC. They nailed this the first time around. I would love to hear your thoughts on this pedal and the tones in this video. Do you use one of these? And if so, what version are you using and what sort of rig are you using it in? Furthermore, I really want to do a big chorus comparison of some classic vintage chori. I'm borrowing a vintage Dimension C at the moment. I've got an original CE one. I've got a few other cool chorus pedals here, as well as some flanges. So let me know what else I should include in that comparison. This is definitely going to be in there. There's going to be stuff like the CE1, the Dimension C, maybe the Arian chorus, maybe an Electric Mistress style thing. We'll do a bunch of stuff. We'll play some really greasy tones and we'll have a bunch of fun. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. If you want to support what I do, there's some links in the video description, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time.